Hi everyone, and welcome once again to Southside Dodge Rebels This Week. A bittersweet episode, as we all know the Rebels playoff dream came to an end this past week. We'll talk a bit about that, but we've also got 4 games to recap, and a little bit later on, we check in with another one of the Rebels' 20-year-old outgoing veterans, Josh Cowen. Let's start by going back to last Tuesday night right here at the NMAX Centrum as your Rebels played host to the Calgary Hitmen. 16-year-old call-up Dexter Bricker gives Rebels fans a good look at what he'll bring to the table next year with a thunderous hit on Cody Sylvester. The 19-year-old veteran didn't like that very much, challenging Bricker to a spirited hugging match. The Hitmen would open the scoring in this one at the 5:28 mark of the opening period. Trevor Cheek with the initial shot, save made by Devin Dubik, but Jimmy Bubnick is all over the rebound. He finds the open net for his 31st of the season and a 1-0 Calgary lead. A bone of contention for Rebels fans, and yours truly for that matter, as Matthew Dumba executes a picture-perfect hip check on Kenton Helgeson, just like they used to draw it up on the chalkboard. Unfortunately, that's a no-no in the current day WHL. Dumba goes off for clipping. The Rebels tie the game up early in the second period. Dumba leads the 3-on-1 rush with a pass over to Chad Robinson. He finds Tyson Nessel front, but the puck goes wide. However, Robinson stays with it and fires out from the corner. It goes off a skate into the open cage. Ness gets the credit for his 18th of the season. It's 1-1. Calgary regains a 1-goal lead thanks to some great work by Brady Brassard. He corrals the loose puck and wires it past Dubik. Brassard's 22nd of the year makes it 2-1 Hitmen. To the third period now, Greg Chase takes the pass and fires on Dubik, who makes the save. Rebound comes to Chase Clayton, save again by Dubik, but Clayton gets a second try and makes no mistake. 3-1 Hitmen at that point. Rebels close the gap to 3-2 as Matthew Dumba crosses the blue line and blasts it past Brandon Glover for his 19th of the year, but it comes with just 5 seconds left on the clock. A desperation shot by Ness goes wide. The buzzer goes as Petrovic, obviously not in a good mood, goes toe-to-toe with Janin Risling. This tilt certainly more action-packed than what we saw from Bricker and Sylvester, but in the end, it's a 3-2 victory for the Hitmen.
We just seemed to give them a little bit too much respect and you know, too much time and space in our zone, didn't finish enough checks to get the puck back, and at the end of the night we allowed them to score too easily. The games are won and lost at the net front at both ends of the rink at this time of year.
Power play coming in on the left wing. Helgeson got hit there by Dumba, and that's a penalty apparently.
I don't really know the ruling on it. I guess Hansen's the one making the call, so I can't really argue it or anything, but I've been making hip checks for a long time, and that's as good as I'm going to get when I make a clean one, so it is what it is.
Matthew Dumba leading the way again with 2 points on the night, but the Rebels simply couldn't match the Calgary Hitmen's offensive output. Only 35 shots on net for the Rebels. Fast forward now to last Friday night as the Rebels were trying to keep their ever-so-slim playoff chances alive. The Edmonton Oil Kings came to the NMAX Centrum looking to clinch first place overall in the Eastern Conference. The Rebels would hit the scoreboard first, while on the power play, Mark McKenzie, who has played some solid hockey in recent games, and that's just his second goal of the season, 6:37 into the first. Tyson Ness and Cody Teal draw the assists. It's 1-0. Things looked good for the Rebels until they fell into some penalty trouble later in the first period. The Oil Kings getting a 5-on-3 man advantage. TJ Foster finds this rebound for his 27th of the year at 16:53. That tied the game at 1. Foster would strike again just 30 seconds later for his 28th of the year. Great pass from Mark Pesic on this play. Edmonton showing everyone why they have the second best power play in the entire league. Things go from bad to even worse for the Rebels. Still in the first period, Cody Corbett starts to play with a big hit. Curtis Lazar blazes towards the Rebels' net. Dubik makes the first save, but Lazar jams home the rebound. 3 goals in just 2 minutes and 4 seconds. In the second period, the Rebels held the high-flying Oil Kings at bay long enough for Mason Burr to close the gap to 3-2. He takes a sweet pass from Bricker and goes top shelf on Laurent Brossoit for his 3rd of the year. Dexter Bricker earns his first ever WHL point with the assist. Late in the third period now, Rebels pull the goalie for a 6-on-4 power play. Rhett Roshinsky chops at it. It goes all the way down the ice. He ends up scoring the empty netter. Certainly didn't look like he meant to, but he'll definitely take it. 4-2 Edmonton at that point. Travis Owanek follows suit with a long-distance empty netter of his own. That's his first goal of the year, as Owanek has missed most of the year due to injury. Oil Kings win by a final score of 5-2.
In the first 15 minutes, I thought we'd set the tone real well, and then difference in the hockey game was about a 4-minute stretch there at the end of the first. We took a couple penalties and ended up down 5-on-3 against a pretty good power play that moves the puck well, and they took advantage there and had a lot of pressure off that. They scored on that next power play as well.
A big win for the Oil Kings as they do indeed clinch the Eastern Conference pennant. Good to see both McKenzie and Burr make rare appearances on the score sheet. Dexter Bricker with his first ever Rebels point. More action versus Edmonton one night later as the Rebels visited the Oil Kings at Rexall Place on what was fan appreciation night for the Oil Kings. A sold-out crowd of over 16,000 fans in attendance. Rebels strike first as Matthew Dumba blasts home his 20th goal of the season past Brossoit for an early power play marker. Dumba then makes a gorgeous pass to Tyson Ness, who goes top shelf for his 19th. 2-0 Rebels early in the second. But the Oil Kings are up in a big way later in the middle frame, starting with Cody Corbett, who beats Dubik for his 5th of the year, cutting the lead to 2-1. And just 12 seconds later, the draw comes back to Martin Gurnett, who wires it past Dubik for his 9th of the year, tying the game at 2. And a mere 2 minutes after that, on an Edmonton power play, Michael St. Croix tips home Dylan Ruck's slap shot for his 42nd goal of the year and his 100th point. 3-2 Oil Kings at that point. Mark McKenzie would tie the game 3-3 before the end of the second, but TJ Foster puts the Oil Kings ahead again early in the third period. It's his 29th of the year and third in 2 games versus the Rebels. Then Ruck gets in on the scoring parade himself, following up on his fan shot to net his 21st of the year. It's the eventual game winner, 5-3 Oil Kings. But the scrappy Rebels keep on coming. Mark McCoy snaps home his 4th of the year, making it 5-4. Unfortunately, the Oil Kings put the bullet in the Rebels' comeback attempt. The Rebels had already been officially eliminated from playoff contention when Brandon won earlier in the night, but the loss here hurts even more. Dumba's 3-point effort, the definite highlight for the Rebels in this one. Some rather pointed accusations following the game from Oil Kings head coach Derek Laxdal. He accused the Rebels of using some dirty tactics during that Saturday night game. In an article published in the Edmonton Journal on Sunday, Laxdal said the Rebels were unprofessional. Quote, "When their coaches start chirping our bench, I have a problem with that, and I think that's very unprofessional. We don't tell our players to go and hurt other players, and I saw their coaches talk to one of their players. I think that's very unprofessional, and that's all I have to say about that." Laxdal then went on to say, "I didn't like some of the stuff that went on after the whistles. It was very cheap and very unprofessional. We picked up an injury from it, and that's going to hurt us down the stretch here. But we've got guys we can put in the lineup. We have to go into Red Deer next Saturday night. What goes around comes around." Jesse Wallen, meantime, was caught quite off guard by the allegations. "Wow, it surprises me that Derek Laxdal would say that," Wallen was quoted. "I've never told a player to go out and do anything. If Derek Laxdal would like to address that with me, he is more than welcome to come down and do so." That didn't happen. Absolutely not. Never done that. Never will. So that little exchange could set the stage for an interesting end to the regular season. Just one day later, an afternoon game in Calgary as the Rebels visited the Hitmen, a 5-2 final for Calgary. 2 points each for John Persson and Adam Kambites. Brady Brassett with 2 more goals, capping off an impressive week versus the Rebels. Well, folks, here they are. The Eastern Conference playoff teams have been determined. The Rebels are on the outside looking in. Edmonton has clinched first place, and the Calgary Hitmen have clinched home ice advantage in round 1. An interesting race developing when it comes to team scoring. John Persson has the lead at 56. Matthew Dumba checking in with 54. No Rebels defenseman has ever won the team scoring race in a regular season. And here's the Rebels game schedule for their final week of the season. Tuesday night, they visit the Medicine Hat Tigers. Friday night, they play host to the Lethbridge Hurricanes. And on Saturday, it's St. Patrick's Day and Team Awards night as the Edmonton Oil Kings come calling on the heels of the controversy from last week. As always, catch every Rebels broadcast on the voice of the Rebels, 106.7 The Drive. Well, as you might imagine, the news that this Rebels team is not going to the playoffs was not easy for the players to take.
Finding that out on Saturday night, that was pretty tough. It was a pretty sad atmosphere in the dressing room after that. But I guess moving forward in the week throughout the weekend is we kind of got over it, and it's in the past now, and we can't change anything. And we just have to have fun with our last 3 games, and everything happens for a reason, and you gotta have faith in that. So I think it's good. Everyone's okay with the fact now, and we're moving forward.
I think we gave a pretty gallant effort there in the end, and we tried our best, and just still injuries seem to be haunting us. And well, it's disappointing, obviously, that we're finally out of it. But I think there's a lot of things to be positive about from this season, and we're still trying to stay positive, and there's still lots of stuff to play for. And I mean, we can wreck some records here in these last 3 games, and I mean, there's going to be lots of scouts in the building. It's the last 3 games to watch Maddie, so I mean, there's going to be a lot of scouts in the building, so that's an opportunity for every one of us to be noticed. And obviously just playing for the jersey and playing for our fans here. And we have 2 more games at home to entertain our fans, and they supported us all year, so it'll be a good opportunity for us to finish strong in front of them.
Coming up after the break, we sit down for a one-on-one chat with outgoing Rebels veteran Josh Cowen. We'll be right back. Southside Dodge Rebels This Week is presented by Southside Dodge Chrysler Jeep in Red Deer, Alberta. Well, as we wind down the regular season here on Southside Dodge Rebels This Week, we are chatting with the Rebels 20-year-olds, and boy, this guy sure has an interesting story right here. Josh Cowen. Josh, you started as a forward on this team, a guy they were hoping for some veteran experience from, and due to some circumstances, you're now an assistant coach. I bet you had no idea it would be this eventful.
No, I mean, going into the season, I just focus on, like training or whatever, and coming in and being a leader, leading the young guys, because obviously we had a young team this year, and trying to put up numbers myself. I was getting frustrated at the start of the season, and then the injury bug hit me once again. And I mean, Wally presented me with the opportunity to be an assistant coach, and I can't thank him enough. And it's been an amazing ride. And I'm actually living with him now, so it's pretty cool.
Nothing like being accountable to the boss in more ways than one. Now, you talk about wanting to come into the season and be helpful to the youngsters. I mean, what better opportunity than to do that as an assistant coach?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all the young guys like, Maxie, Hammy, Miette, Dotes, those are just kind of guys that you like to be a leader to. And, I like joke around with them as a coach, and, I'll try to be hard with them one day, and then I'll be laughing and I'll be joking around with them the other. But they're really good kids, and you just gotta keep on working with them, and the better they get, the better leaders they're gonna become.
So obviously you're still able to maintain somewhat of a friendly relationship with them. I guess what's sort of been the biggest difference between going from a player to assistant coach?
It's kind of weird because on game days, me and Wally, we still have our good game day routines. Like, I'll come to the rink, and you'll hang out with the guys when they're here for check, and then we go home, and me and Wally each have a nap, like a pregame nap, and we'll eat our meals together. And after our naps, we're just kind of like engaged in the game. So I think game days have been sort of similar. Definitely just not playing, not feeling that grind, and not being there after a win. And like after win, all the guys are hooping and hollering. And, the best thing in the world is, knowing you work your bag off after a game, you got to win. So that's one thing I really miss.
Well, yourself included, the injury trouble on this team has been catastrophic, for lack of a better term. But you've got to be really proud with how this team has continued to battle night in and night out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our resilience, it shows a lot of character in our team. Losing that many guys, and guys, they don't care. Like, it doesn't hamper their play. And if you come to work every night, good things are going to happen. We've just kind of put all the injuries aside and really gone for it.
Now, Josh, we already know what you're leaning towards as your post-hockey career, because you've gone on numerous flights here the last little while, and you're working on your pilot's license.
Yeah, working on my private pilot's license right now with Skywings out of Penhold. And being an assistant coach, the opportunity presented itself to be able to fly every day, and then come down to the rink and be at practice with the guys and whatnot. So it's been pretty cool, because going into flying, like, I've never flown a plane before. And I remember my first ground school class, like, they're talking about like the wings and the ailerons, and everything has to do with the plane, and I had no idea what it was. I was just so interested in flying, and then learning all those stuff. And now I'm actually flying, and I went for my first solo the other day. So it's just been like a totally cool experience, and I just I'm addicted to it. So it's awesome.
How did you first get interested in wanting to be a pilot?
It was like probably 3 years ago, and I was just watching a TV show. And my dad had flown planes as a younger guy, and he's always been, you know, interested in them and planes and helicopters. And one day I was watching the show, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to be a pilot. And like for 3 years now, I've just been like, you know, wanting that experience and wanting to get the opportunity to do it. And finally, you know, I got the opportunity, so took full advantage.
So have you had a few of these guys bugging you to get you up in the air? Or?
Yeah, lots of guys bug me. I haven't quite got my full license yet. Obviously, you know, there's still like a month or two left of that. But after I'm done, you know, I'm planning on flying to maybe Lethbridge and taking Adam out for a flight or something like that. Just, you know, something cool. So we'll see.
Yeah, something unique. And is that something you hope to parlay into a career then one day? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into this private pilot thing, it just kind of gave me like an idea of what I wanted to do. And you know, if I really liked flying, then I was going to do it as a career. And, you know, I don't like flying, but I love it now. You know, it's just such an amazing feeling being able to control yourself in the air. And, you know, I really look to use that in my career.
And who knows, you might be able to fall back on this coaching experience someday too. Keep that hockey in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even next year, like to take my schooling, I'll probably have to like work for a couple of years or a year to get some money because it's pretty expensive. So, you know, next year, like, who knows what's going to happen. You know, maybe I'll be back in Red Deer, like, coaching a midget team, or I'll be in Kamloops, who knows.
Well, you've been a member of this Rebels team for a long time now, and I know that Rebels burgundy and black will be in your blood for as long as you go on through your career and whatever else you do. Josh, thanks for doing this, and best of luck in the future.
All right, thanks.
Rebels veteran Josh Cowen, Rebels assistant coach Josh Cowen here on Southside Dodge Rebels This Week. Well, that about does it for this week. Tune in next time for our final episode of the season. We'll have a recap of the last few games of the year as well as Team Awards Night. As always, don't forget to check us out online, rebelsthisweek.com. Like us on Facebook and also follow us on Twitter @RebelsThisWeek. We'll see you next time.